That's right, kids, I'm back! Just in time to wish you a happy 4th of July. I'm the Conquistador Dave Height, and to my left is my brother from another mother, the maestro, Kevin Crane.
Oh, am I supposed to talk this week? I thought
Maybe
I got a week off.
Hey,
do I get a week
back,
off?
Relax,
when do I get a week off? When do I get a week off?
Whenever you want.
I never get a week off.
It's July 2nd as we record your favorite politically incorrect sports extravaganza, Sports Frenzy 2.0, dropping Thursday, July 3rd. We got a few things lined up for you this holiday weekend.
Yes, and I will say that if your Uncle Dave decides to bring up a topic from last week that we discussed, you and I, kids, our faithful listeners out there, we will not criticize, we will not judge, we will let him ramble as much as he wants.
Yeah, I was pretty much out not doing a whole lot, drinking my way through northern Michigan, up through the Traverse City, Charlevoix, Petoskey area, hitting as many brew pubs as possible.
Who's going to criticize that? Who's going to criticize that?
It was a glorious thing.
All right, so I have made a pledge to myself. I will pledge to you. Pledge to the listeners.
Our astute listeners?
Yes, not viewers, because we're still not doing this video podcast crap that everybody keeps trying to shove on us. NHL, NBA, we're done after this week.
Wrap up.
We're taking a couple months off.
Stick a fork in them, they're done.
We're done. We are done. But they are going to take up a lot of time here at the beginning of this particular podcast.
Why, you ask? We have draft recaps, kids. Free agency in the NBA. Topsy-turvy.
So let's start off with hockey.
We can do that.
Now, we do have a new labor deal, first and foremost, that will keep labor peace in the NHL through 2029, 2030.
Why is it that the NHL and the NHL Players Association are able to work together so easily when NBA, MLB, and NFL is so damn contentious?
Yep. So this will carry through, the new labor deal will carry through September the 15th, 2030. Two interesting things to point out. We're not going to go through the whole deal, of course. But amen to this. No deferred salaries.
Hallelujah!
So you will not have...
Take note, NBA, NFL, and more importantly, MLB.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that later, because our favorite day was yesterday.
Yes, how did you celebrate Bobby Bonilla Day? I'm sure you didn't get your $1.19 million.
Yeah, we will talk more about that later, and I will give kudos to my current favorite radio host for going nuclear on this.
My God, one I was listening to the other day were rattling off everybody who's getting deferred money.
That's exactly where I was going.
But
I was going to give credit to the great Bart Winkler for looking at the current ones, and then, of course, going forward to the impending Shohei Ohtani deferred payment nuclear disaster.
Yeah, Matt Spiegel on 670 The Score was going through the litany of names as well.
Yep.
All right, but back to the NHL.
But then the other cool thing about this labor deal, well, this is going to be a topic we will discuss throughout this show. I will just say this. But kudos again to the NHL and the players for saying to create a more balanced rivalry schedule, we're going to add 2 games to the regular season. So 84-game regular season. Now, this has been done in the past.
Yep.
They went back to 82. Now they're going to go back to 84 again so they can balance out the rivalry games.
Which has been lacking. especially after the realignment that they went through a few years back.
So, as you said, the NHL seems to have a nice little coexistence thing going on here.
Yeah, the snake is not eating its own tail, as from the player's point of view.
And then I believe they also reduced by a year the maximum number of years you can sign somebody to.
Yes. Yep. Trying to keep costs down and make things more competitive across the league.
I think they went from 8 to 7.
Yeah,
I
something
believe.
like that. So, and then the players also got the okay to participate in the 2026 Olympics. So, there you go. But we did have the draft. So, I only cared about one team. That was the Blackhawks, who once again had 3 first-round picks. They had the number 3, 25, and 29 overall. They went with some size this time. They've got some of the smaller skill players like Connor Bedard and a few other guys who tend to get knocked around a little bit. This draft, all the way through, all 7 rounds, all 8 picks that they had, the smallest guy is 6'2", 190. Or actually 6'3", 180 they've got in the 7th round. But they got some big boys. They got a couple guys logging in at 6'6", 6'7", 6'4". So they need to play physical. That is what they have been lacking over the years. So I'm excited to see if these guys can really come through and pull this off.
So their number 3 overall pick.
Anton Frondell, a center out of Sweden. So, not too bad. I think he's going to play another year over in Sweden to finish out. Their number 25 overall, Václav Nastrazil, the right wing out of the Czech Republic, who's currently playing in the USHL for Muskegon. And then they got at number 29 center Mason West out of Edina High School in Minnesota. Now I think this is the kid that 17 going into his senior year in high school, and he's committed to playing at Michigan State. So they're going to be a few years out before they get this kid. So they're banking on him developing into a solid player in the future. Only side issue, he's his high school team's starting quarterback. And so when he goes to Michigan State, he may be playing both hockey and football. So decisions loom for this kid on what he's going to do. So it was a risk.
Now the number 1 overall pick, New York Islanders select Matthew Schaefer. And don't ask me to break this pick down at all. I know nothing about hockey. I know nothing. I see nothing.
I know nothing.
I'm more in on the labor deal. That stuff.
That's the bigger piece.
Because again, I'm not a lawyer. I only play one on a podcast. but yeah, I love the business of sports, for better, for worse.
And the NHL gets it.
Yep. So with that, we'll move to the NBA. And their draft recap. Very interesting how closely intertwined the NBA and the NHL are when it comes to the end of the season, the draft, and then the free agency.
They pretty much mirror each other going through the entire year.
A day or two difference is all you get. And of course, number 1 pick in the draft was Cooper Flagg going to the Mavericks.
Say it ain't so.
Yeah.
Big friggin' surprise.
I did not realize, though, call me naive, that Cooper Flagg is the first white American basketball player drafted number 1 since Kurt Benson.
Damn.
From IU.
Whew. That's been a run.
Yeah. So, We'll talk more about that later when we get to the WNBA. But then Dylan Harper, drafted number 2 by the San Antonio Spurs. And if you did not see the coverage of the draft, you're a better person than me. I did watch the first half an hour to watch the first couple picks.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'll tell you what, Dylan Harper's mom, bullshit. I call bullshit. There's no way that's his mother. There is no way that's his mother. Bullshit. Look at the video, kids. No way. That's all I'm saying. Everybody is like, hot mom. Hot mom is all I'm going to say. Hot
the
mom.
hottest NBA mom since Steph Curry's mom?
Then we have...
No comment?
No, we're moving on. Then we move on to the number 9 pick, Colin Murray Boyles. Now, this pick was interesting on multiple levels because, number 1, and this doesn't shock me anymore with how entitled these little...
Pampered players.
Yeah, I was going to say pricks, but that's fine. We had the deal with the other kid from Rutgers. Dylan Harper, of course, was from Rutgers. Went to the Spurs. Who wouldn't want to go to the Spurs?
Yeah.
Now they're loading up with young talent. What was it? Ace Bailey was the other one who was telling teams, don't even draft me. Don't even think about drafting me.
I won't play for
you.
He
wanted to play for the worst, the bottom feeders, because he wants more playing time to show what he can do. And then he got drafted number 5 by the Utah Jazz. And everybody was like, oh, he's not going to be happy with that. Well,
too bad, so fucking sad.
I give Danny Ainge credit for having the balls to say he's sitting on the board at 5. He was a top 3 talent. I'm taking him.
Yeah, deal with it, kid.
Yeah.
You want to play? You don't dictate coming out like that.
But then number 9, Colin Murray Boyles, went to the Raptors, and his initial reaction was not good. Now,
you got drafted to play at the next level. Don't be a douchebag.
And that's the reaction you should have. You should be happy. You should be joyous. You
got drafted. You made it. You are the what? 1/10 of 1% of basketball players in the country.
Yeah. But no, this is where we are right now. These kids all want to play, where they want to play.
Yeah, no. You play where you're drafted and you are happy to have the opportunity.
But now, of course, his girlfriend is Chloe Kitts, who is a hot blonde, I believe, out of South Carolina. And everybody's saying, oh, she'll be a draft pick for the Indiana Fever next year. No, we've got Sophie Cunningham. More on her later.
And her fashion?
Oh, many things about Sophie. Many things about Sophie coming up. Good
Sophie.
And bad. The Nets, the Brooklyn Nets, become the first team ever. Not only did they have 5 first-round picks, but they used all 5 first-round picks.
Unbelievable.
That's
but
a gamble.
Know what?
That is a huge gamble.
That's everything else they have done has not worked. They tried to build a super team. It failed miserably. Everything they've done has not worked. Why not break it down, have an entire new core come up together, learn to play, and develop as a team?
And you're right.
Why not?
That's what they're going to do. That's what this team is going to be.
Why not? Nobody has tried that in how long? Let's see if it works.
Now, the problem is you got a lot of international players here. Are they going to commit to playing here in the U.S.? Or are they going to stay overseas? So how many of these players will actually play for the Brooklyn Nets this coming year? My Orlando Magic Got a great pick, I thought, at number 25 with Jace Richardson, guard out of Michigan State. And then I believe in the second round they traded up to get some kid out of France, I think. And again, This is another one that's not going to really, you can't count on him. Is he going to come over? Or is he going to
wait a year or two?
The Magic also, this is the one thing that pissed me off. They let Mo Wagner go. Not Franz. Franz is the big brother. Right. Franz is the one who...
He's the...
Yeah. But his brother, Moritz Wagner, they declined his $11 million a year option for 1 year. Let him go. I did not like that because I thought that guy played with a lot of heart coming off the bench. They did bring in Tyus Jones as a backup point guard for $7 million. And this is all monopoly money, of course, especially when we get to the point where we talk about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Boy got paid.
The reigning MVP. And nobody's saying the reigning MVP, if anybody should get paid, it should be him.
Right.
4 years. $285 million extension.
Max deal.
With the Oklahoma City Thunder, which will carry him through the 2030-2031 season. That, kids, if you do your math, which you should be able to do, unless you're a professional athlete, and we'll talk more about that later, is over $71 million a year.
To play a fucking playground game.
And I heard somebody the other day ask very reasonably, are we 3 years out, 2 years out from somebody in the NBA getting $1 million a game? $82 million a year.
It's getting close. It's...
And there's going to be people that go, oh, look at the NFL guys. They only play 16 games, and they get $50 million. Much different game. Different game.
They also have more to lose playing the game.
Much different game. The Bucks, with a bold move, found a little loophole in the NBA rules. You know, because everybody's saying, oh, you should trade Giannis Antetokounmpo. You should get rid of him. Let him enjoy the last third of his career while he's still in his prime somewhere else where he can compete. Because, of course, that's what they want. They don't want him in a small market. They want him in a big market.
Guess what? Stop dictating this, people.
So the Bucks waive Damian Lillard, who's coming off Achilles surgery. He had 2 years left on his deal for $113 million. The Bucks will now be able to spread that out over 5 years. When did Rob Manfred become the commissioner of basketball?
Yeah. So they get to get him off the books, spreading that salary out, freeing up a substantial amount of cap space.
In order to
pilfer.
Sign the one free agent signing. And it screws the Pacers.
Badly. Yes.
Miles Turner now goes to the Bucks. 4 years, $107 million. And I'm going to tell you what pisses me off about this, Dave, beyond all belief.
Is that because Indy couldn't sign him without having to pay a luxury tax because of the injury to Halliburton.
Yes, but they're operating like the Cubs is what they're doing.
Small-minded.
Yes. We can't go over the threshold. We can't go over the threshold.
We can't pay the luxury tax. You need to do what's best for the city and the team, not your friggin' pocketbook.
This is not, in the terms of the current NBA, an exorbitant amount of money.
No.
This is what, 26, just under 26, 27 million a year?
Yeah, it was a reasonable deal for Turner.
There is no way the Pacers should have let him walk.
No,
on
that
this
was
deal.
Stupid.
Yeah, just under
Small-minded
27
thinking.
million a year.
Small-minded thinking.
So now the Pacers are screwed. I don't see how they're competitive next year. No Turner, and of course no Halliburton.
Yeah, so they're in trouble.
So now what? Pascal Siakam's supposed to do everything?
Ugh.
Then, of course, we talked about SGA. If anybody, again, is going to get paid, it should have been him. But we've got a few more veterans who got their money. James Harden got a 2-year, $81.5 million extension.
For
from
what reason?
The Clippers.
What does he do?
You and I have talked about this.
He's useless.
It will be a sad day in the NBA when he gets in the Hall of Fame.
He
is
is useless. He disappears when teams
He
need
is
him
the
most.
ultimate compiler. That's all he is.
Yeah.
He's not a winner. He doesn't care about winning. He doesn't care about his team. He cares about his stats.
Yeah, that's all he is. That's all he will ever be. He is useless.
Oh, and LeBron James opted in to his player option with the Lakers for $52.6 million.
There's a shock.
But he and his agent immediately say,
oh, we'll take a trade.
yeah, we want to see what the Lakers are going to do here. Otherwise, yeah, we'll explore other options here. So now, the Lakers, who've been kissing his ass for what, 6 years now?
Yeah, pathetically.
Now they all went out and got DeAndre Ayton. That was the one guy who the Pacers could have picked up.
Should have picked
to
up.
make up for losing Miles Turner. And no, now he's going to the Lakers to appease LeBron James's ego. Oh, and did you hear his bullshit remarks after Cooper Flagg got drafted?
No.
LeBron said, Cooper Flagg's got it so much easier as a number 1 pick than I did.
No. Whatever.
He is such a fucking drama queen. I hate him. I hate LeBron James. I can't stand his Amazon commercials. I can't stand him as a human being. I can't stand his flopping. Cooper Flagg's got it so much easier because he's got Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving. Both players you had as teammates who you abandoned.
Exactly.
You bitch! You fucking bitch! You were such a hypocritical asshole. Anthony Davis, can't wait to get him out of town so we can bring in Luka Doncic. Can't wait to leave Kyrie Irving in the dust so I can move on to the West Coast and LA.
Yeah.
I will never, ever, ever, ever consider LeBron James a top 10 player of all time. Never.
Can't.
Never.
Can't do it.
What a prick. What a godforsaken prick he is.
Self-centered, egotistical.
Oh, my God. Sorry. Literally could be my least favorite athlete of all time. Could
Wow.
be. I won't go 100% yet, but close. Close. You know, you got some other guys out there. Jamarcus Russell comes to mind, but oh my Lord, I hate him. And then finally, Detroit's Malik Beasley. Wow. We opened Pandora's box, Dave. We've talked about this.
We fucking told you Do not allow legal gambling. Again, did you learn nothing last season? Beasley, you play in the NBA. Why are you betting on NBA games? You can bet on the NFL. You can bet on the Major League Baseball. You can bet on golf, hockey, anything other than basketball. But no, this should be in the dumbass category.
I was close. I mean,
there is no excuse to bet on your own sport.
If you have not heard, Malik Beasley, currently with Detroit, when this investigation, the time frame, he was with the Milwaukee Bucks. But he is under federal investigation for gambling. Friends of his supposedly involved, prop bets.
Yep.
And now more information is coming out where Malik Beasley, you would sit there and go, again, you guys are talking about this silly money that all these basketball players are making. Why would he bet? Why would he jeopardize that? Because he's an idiot and he put himself in bad financial positions. There are stories coming out where he owed this company and he owed this company and he owed that company for bad business decisions.
Dumb, dumb, dumb.
Now, Dave and I kind of follow the Bulls, kind of, sort of.
Ish.
I'm more of a Magic guy. I know he's a Celtics guy. But now, the Bulls have now decided to go into complete free fall, I think.
No, they're not even doing that. They can't even successfully bottom out. They're content to make the play-in tournament. This is completely Reinsdorfian. He doesn't give a shit. He has his front office who won't give a shit about improving. Oh, we stay here. We're competitive enough to keep the fans coming in. The fans are getting pretty fucking pissed off, as you've noticed from White Sox fans not showing up and calling you out. Bulls fans should take a page and do the same damn thing. This is a travesty. This is bad ownership 101.
Yet the Bulls have traded Lonzo Ball to the Cleveland Cavaliers. And now, on top of that, I've heard rumors that they want to re-sign Billy Donovan, but they haven't.
Why would he want to go back?
I've heard rumors that they want to keep, was it Josh Giddey?
Why would he want to go? Karnashevitz is as bad, if not worse, than Gar Forman and John Paxson.
What is it with ownership, sports ownership in Chicago?
They're idiots.
It's like a disease. It is literally like a disease.
It's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic.
Now, Masai Ujiri is out after a very successful run with the Raptors. Let go as vice chairman and president. He has been with that team since 2013. He was the mastermind behind their NBA championship team. I've got to believe he will not be out of work for very long. And then the New York Knicks. Rumors were all over. They went through the draft. They went through the start of free agency. Who's the head coach? I don't know. Do you know? I don't know. Who do you know? I don't know. Oh, we're going to talk to Dawn Staley.
But now, sources say they're expected to hire, Mike Brown as their next head coach.
Retread.
Yep.
Retread. Yet another. How is this a better move than keeping Tom Thibodeau? If they had just waited
one more year.
This team, with all the injuries and everything that's going on, all the chaos, with all the other teams in the Eastern Conference, outside of my glorious Orlando Magic.
One more year with Tibbs.
If they kept Tibbs, I would have said that team's going to the finals. That team is going to the finals. Celtics are done.
Yep.
Pacers are done. Bucks, I don't care about Miles Turner. They're done. There is no way.
Doesn't have much.
Cleveland might be the only challenge. But the Knicks would have been the front runners easily in the Eastern Conference if they just kept Tibbs. They didn't rub people the right way. They didn't like him.
What? Who cares? Did they perform to their best? Yes.
Yes. The numbers say yes. And they still, this is going to be an abject disaster.
Train wreck.
And this is why I'm loving where the Magic are right now. Stability, stability, stability. Young talent, you watch.
They better, this next season is when they need to step it up.
They need to stay healthy. Health is the big thing. And last year was the year where they got bit in the ass with the injury bug. This year, the Magic will rise. I say, right now, Eastern Conference Finals, Cavaliers, Magic. And I'm telling you who else to watch out for? The Hawks. I like the moves the Hawks have made.
Atlanta has been sneaky.
Yes. And again, the Hawks and the Magic are understanding the landscape in the East right now.
Yeah. You make a few key moves,
do it
bring
right
in
now.
enough, now go all in.
Yep, they kept their head coaches. They kept the stability. Quinn Snyder, of course, with the Hawks.
Yep.
Jamal Mosley with the Magic. Meanwhile, the Knicks are going, oh, let's interview Spike Lee. Let's interview Ben Stiller. Woo, 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 okay, oh, yeah, let's go with
Wait,
Mike Brown.
Is this the Knicks or the Jets?
Is Marty Schottenheimer still alive?
Hey, at least he'd have got him to the playoffs.
Jesus. But Tom Thibodeau got him to the playoffs.
I know.
That was the stupid thing about this whole mess.
Bad.
There was no reason to fire Tom Thibodeau. One player probably bitched and pissed and moaned.
And got him fired from a second team.
Third.
Well, no, the same player.
Oh, I see where you're going. Okay.
One player.
You think it's Cat?
Yes.
You think it's Cat?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
A useless player.
Yeah,
in his own right.
the softest big man in the NBA.
Probably NBA history.
And Tibbs deserves better.
Oh, absolutely.
And now he'll take a year off, and somebody will bring him in, and he will do the Marty Schottenheimer thing, and he will get them. And I hope he does better. I hope he breaks that curse.
Yeah.
And I hope he wins a title somewhere.
He deserves it.
Now, God help me for saying this. Wouldn't that have been awesome if the Lakers were actually smart? And they looked at J.J. Redick and said
bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye, you little pussy. We're
Tibbs.
bringing... But LeBron doesn't want Tibbs.
No, because
LeBron, he doesn't
Tibbs
want to be coached.
Yeah,
he doesn't want to be pushed.
He wants to do the coaching and coast.
Yeah. And that's why he's never going to win any more than 4.
Yep.
And that's why he'll never be Michael fucking Jordan. Ugh. All right, moving on to the NFL. And I got to tell you, my show sheet is a mess because the Buccaneers and the Dolphins. I thought I'd have room to not even write anything about them, and they end up being the ones we have to talk about this week.
I know, Miami. After 2 weeks ago, when I blasted them for not dealing Jalen Ramsey, not doing anything, they wind up trading him and tight end Juno Smith to the Steelers for safety Minka Parsons.
Minka Fitzpatrick.
Or Fitzpatrick. Sorry, yes, Minka Fitzpatrick. Holy shit! I'm thrilled as a Dolphins fan to make that trade.
I would be to a point.
I mean, you lose a tight end now. They just traded late round picks with the Giants to bring in Waller, who's coming out of retirement.
That's the problem I have.
I don't like that necessarily.
If Minkah Fitzpatrick is okay coming back to the Dolphins, then I'm okay. Now, this is a different coaching staff, different regime from when he was traded away the first time. I like him a lot more than I like Jalen Ramsey.
Amen.
The Pittsburgh Steelers have had their eye on Jonnu Smith for some reason for a long, long time. Now they're going to run a two tight end set with... Let me ask you this.
Juno Smith
When do you remember Aaron Rodgers ever making a tight end better? Do you remember a tight end with Aaron Rodgers who was an all-pro, all-world tight end?
No,
it was the receivers. It was always the receiver.
He does not go to the tight ends.
Now he's got two tight ends. He's got Freiermuth, and now he's got Jonnu Smith. What the hell is he going to do with them?
He doesn't know how to check down.
What the Steelers need is a second wide receiver to take the pressure off of DK Metcalf. This is why we have to run everything, Dave, because I don't understand the thinking here.
I don't either. And
not for the Steelers. I do understand what the Dolphins are doing.
It worked
Get Jalen Ramsey out of town.
It worked for Miami.
Except
for Darren Waller.
I don't like the Darren Waller. No, I don't like it.
I don't like that move.
He's a head case. He's a nut job. But I think they panicked and they realized, well, we do need a tight end, don't we? We need a tight end.
Why didn't you just wait for the Bears to cut one of their 20?
I know. So
I mean, seriously.
Yeah. Do not depend on Darren Waller.
No, you still need to wait for cuts and pick one up right before the start of the season. You will find something.
I am seeing odds drastically improving on Mr. Capri Pants getting fired as the first head coach out the door.
Yes, I would agree with that.
I've heard the media down there hates his guts. They can't stand press conferences with him. You know, God forbid.
He comes in a wall of smoke.
Yeah. Why did they give him the extension is the question.
There was no reason to extend him.
Because they fire him this year, they're going to owe him money through, 2029?
Yeah, it's absolutely stupid.
You know who he reminds me of? He's like a young Mark Trestman on pot.
Oh, God.
On pot. Isn't he?
Dr. Death.
Yeah. You take Trestman, wind back the clock 15 years.
Oh, God. And
give him a blunt. Give him a blunt. And put Jay and Silent Bob on either side of him.
Oh, God help us. Yeah.
And I'm not trying to rip on your team. You know I'm not. I have nothing against the Dolphins. Nothing.
Oh, God.
But they are wasting talent and time is what they're doing.
Their front office has been inept for so long. It's pathetic.
That goes back to the owner.
Yeah.
He has made so many bad moves over the years. But
there you go.
Can I say the Buccaneers have been much better? Maybe.
Ish.
We got a ring a few years back. We did. And I was thinking about it the other day. Is Tom Brady actually my favorite Buccaneer of all time already?
For that one ring.
I don't know. Could be. I love me some John Lynch and Warren Sapp, but...
No, you got a couple of pretty good receivers right now.
Here's the thing. Stability There's the key word again, kids. Stability. This is what you people out there in podcast land don't want to embrace. The word stability. Stability is good.
You can't keep changing everything around.
The Buccaneers have locked in general manager Jason Lichty and head coach, God forbid me, Todd Bowles through 2028. So for better or for worse, I am not the biggest Todd Bowles fan ever, but, I can't keep living in my fantasy shadow of John Gruden. He ain't walking through that door anymore.
No.
So
and Bowles seem to have learned a few things.
They have won 3 straight titles in the NFC South.
Yes.
Whether it's 9-8, whether you like it or you hate it, it still wins the division. And they have been very competitive in the playoffs.
They have been.
So I'm not complaining. I'm not. I'll take Todd Bowles. The thing that worries me about the Buccaneers is the transition over and over and over again with the success of the offense. Canales, great. He leaves. He goes to the Panthers. And then you've got Mr. Duval, who leaves and goes to the Jaguars. So now we're on Baker Mayfield's 3rd offensive coordinator in 3 years. That's what worries me. That's not stability,
That's not
kids.
Stability.
That's what worries me. Because at some point, you keep rolling the dice, and you keep coming up, hey, that's good, that's good. You're going to come up snake eyes at some point.
At some point, you're going to get a guy who does not connect with your quarterback.
Shane Waldron?
Ding, 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 ding.
Jesus.
Oh, Lord.
But I am happy that the Bucs have that stability.
Overall.
So I'm okay with that. Minor league stability. Short-term stability. Even though they don't understand how to run a franchise and how to pay the players, the Bengals have come to a $470 million agreement with Paycor Stadium, renovations that will keep the Bengals there through 2036.
Well, there we go.
And that's right around the time that Joe Burrow will retire, and they will be a train wreck again. Oh, should I tell you this? I actually printed out some fantasy football depth charts today.
Oh, God, it's a little early, isn't it?
Jamar Chase, number 1. Jamar Chase, number 1. Consensus, not even close.
He was very, very good for me last year.
Not very even good. Close. Jamar Chase by far and away. Number 1.
Oh, God, absolutely.
Yeah, some of the other ones that I'm seeing in the top 10, I got issues with. But, yeah, I don't see how you can argue with Jamar Chase.
Yeah. No,
that's kids, fantasy football season's coming. You know, that's going to be a weekly issue that we address here on Sports Frenzy 2.0, especially when we get to mid-August and beyond. Now, I have an issue here with the final NFL little tidbit. Justin Tucker, one of the greatest kickers of all time. Had a bad year last year. Maybe something else was on his mind. Gets a 10-week suspension from the NFL for all of these accusations, these civil suits. He has violated, of course, the NFL's personal conduct policy. I still have a problem where there are no criminal charges filed. How do you get to condemn somebody? Last time I checked, in the United States of America, You are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law.
Or unless there's video evidence.
Is there video evidence?
I don't think
this is
there
not
is.
Ray Rice. This is not Ray Rice.
Exactly.
I'm with you on that. Yeah, Ray Rice, there was video evidence. I don't understand, and this is a broader picture, and we will discuss this more maybe at the end of the show. But why aren't these situations, sexual assaults, sexual harassment, sexual abuse, being persecuted, prosecuted, put forth in a court of law outside of civil proceedings?
Because the prosecutors are too fucking scared to file charges. Because it's the he said, she said bullshit that it's tough to get a conviction.
I am trying to. I know the women out there don't believe me, but I am actually trying to stick up for them. If they have been assaulted, if they have been abused, take these fuckers to court and put them in jail, because it makes us all look bad. You were not here last week. On the weekend edition, my dumbass was Martin Kova. Now, if you know him, he is from Cobra Kai and the Karate Kid movies. He was accused of video evidence, everything, of biting his female co-star on the arm.
I saw that.
At a Washington pop culture convention. And I'm like, this asshole is ruining it for everybody.
He needs to be held accountable for that. That was unacceptable.
But I want proof. There's proof there.
Yeah.
Here I want proof. I don't want somebody saying, I understand, when you get to 10, to 12, to 13, to 14 people, then you go, okay.
Then, if there's a pattern, then there's an issue.
But again, then take him to criminal court and get his ass thrown in jail.
What you can prove. And the prosecutors are not going to if they don't have a slam dunk. That is, unfortunately, the reality.
I know.
That's why most rape cases go nowhere. I do. But I'm telling you, the prosecutors are the problem. And the scuzzball defense attorneys are the other problem.
Because this shit makes all men look bad.
It does.
But at the same time, I want proof. And if these scumbag men are doing this, like last week Martin Cove did, obviously, woman had bite marks, bruising on her hand or on her arm.
I know women who are raped. The shame, the trauma, there's the delay before they get assistance.
And we're not trying to assume we know how a woman feels.
No, but
don't take that.
You hear the stories of rape survivors, and it's the guilt, the trauma, where they can't necessarily properly deal with it at that time to go get the kit done, to file the charges right away. Their first instinct is, I need to wash this off of me.
I know, and I get that, I do. But
it's a catch-22.
We want all of you women out there to be safe.
We want these assholes held accountable.
Even though we're politically incorrect and we cross lines every 5 minutes here.
This is not one to
This is a safe space for you. Believe me, Sports Frenzy is a safe space for you. We are trying to do our best to help you. We want these assholes in jail.
We want them held accountable.
But at the same time, you ladies need to watch out for the flip side. The women who will cry foul every time they see a big paycheck possibly coming their way. That's why when we talk about this stuff going straight to civil court, that sends up a red flag. I would prefer somebody who has abused a woman go to jail immediately.
Yes.
Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Go to jail. When we start to hear, well, no, we're just going to sue for money, that's where I get a little bit concerned. That's where I get upset with the hashtag #MeToo movement, where it seems like it's a money grab. I'm sorry, but that's
they're
how
all
I feel.
about themselves, but when shit gets serious, they disappear. There's no support.
And we will support you. Men who actually care will support you. We do not want this crap happening. No. It makes all men look bad, and we don't want that. We do not want that.
Athletes are not special. They should not get preferential treatment in any way, shape, or form.
And again, like I said, might have a little bit more to talk about on this particular issue at the end of the podcast.
All right, let's talk a little baseball now here as we're getting close to the All-Star break here on Spotify, Good Pods, Pocket Cast, Apple, Overcast, Castbox, Amazon, Audible, and iHeart Sports Frenzy, baby. And also the Yubi-Tubi.
How can you not love that? Didn't you miss that last week? No, we're still not on Instagram. I'm still tweaking the YouTube stuff. I'm not convinced it's working, so... Don't forget the Facebook page, of course, where you will find our picks for NASCAR, for baseball, and then, of course, just a few months away from football picks.
Football, baby.
But as your Uncle Dave said...
The bread and butter of which this freaking extravaganza was founded upon.
Yes. Yes, because, of course, the Penta Frenzy, our competition, has 5 contests, and 2 of them, not 1 but 2, are based entirely on football.
And it was the football that started it all.
Yep. All right, baseball. Dave's favorite holiday was yesterday, kids.
Bobby Bonilla Day.
Bobby Bonilla getting $1.19 million yet again from the New York Mets. He will get that until 2035, and then a few years after that, we will switch over to Shohei Ohtani Day, which will be a lot more financially devastating for the Dodgers.
Yes, but Bobby's not the only player getting paid on the July 1st. There are dozens of players who have deferred money coming their way. Not all of them with the longevity of Bonilla.
Right.
But
no, there are some guys who are getting paid for the next year or two. I think Brett Saberhagen is still getting paid.
Saberhagen is close. Saberhagen's like a year or two beyond Bonilla.
Yeah. Saberhagen's still getting paid. Thank God. I think the Cubs are finally done here with Jason Hayward. But yeah, there are a lot of players who are getting deferred money. So
yeah, it's just Bonilla because he was the first.
And here's the ridiculous thing about the Bobby Bonilla Day stuff. This goes back to 2000. Okay, kids? You've got to remember, the Mets were in with Bernie Madoff at that point.
Yep.
The pyramid scheme genius.
The Mets owners were friends with Bernie Madoff, the Ponzi king.
And they did not want to pay Bobby Bonilla $5.9 million. They didn't have the money at that point in time.
No, because they lost it to Madoff.
So at the turn of the century, 1999, going into 2000, they made this agreement with Bobby Bonilla starting in 2010 that they would pay him $1.19 million a year from 2010 through 2035, thinking, well, it's better to pay him all that money than to pay him the $5.9 million that we owe him right now.
Dumbest decision
they thought they were going to make all this money with Bernie Madoff.
And it backfired.
So think about it, kids. They could have paid him $5.9 million and on the spot and been done.
But no, they took that money and invested it into the Ponzi scheme along with a lot of other money and lost it all.
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
The stupidity.
Oh, my God. So we move on. Our two little watch points. Of course, in a couple weeks, we're going to switch over.
Our 300 watch is coming after the All-Star break.
I saw something today that really concerns me.
There's a lot of concerning things.
I saw this afternoon, I believe 3 players in the National League are above 300.
Yeah, it's not
3
good.
players. Now, there's a lot more in the American League.
But still, it's not a good thing.
No. But we'll get to that in a couple of weeks.
Yep. Hey, congratulations, the Cubs. You got 2 starters for the All-Star game. Tucker and PCA.
That's great. That's great. What do I care? Because they're not going to re-sign either one of them because Tom Ricketts is a cheap asshole. You know this and I know this.
I know it. But enjoy what you have while you have it.
No, I see these reports this week where Jed Hoyer's talking about we're going to be very careful in how we do our trade deadline moves.
Yeah, meaning you're scared shitless.
Because they don't.
Anything.
Just like we talked about in the NBA with the Pacers and the Magic. These are teams that don't want to go into luxury tax issues. They don't want to cross.
Even if it's only for a year or two, they won't do it.
And I'm so fucking tired. I swear to God, you know I can get obsessed about stuff. Dave knows this. I have been thinking the last 2 weeks about who the Cubs could go out and get in terms of pitching. And all I hear, Sandy Alcantara. I don't fucking want Sandy Alcantara.
No, his arm is going to blow up.
There are guys you could get. I'm looking at J.P. Sears from Oakland or Sacramento. I'm looking at Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly from Arizona. I'm looking at guys who I can control who are younger and I could pay less for.
So that way you can afford to bring it.
I don't want Sandy Alcantara. He has not been any good since he won the Cy Young. I don't want him. Oh, go get Walker Buehler from the Red Sox.
Why overpay for him?
Yeah. See, I have to run everything with the Cubs.
You don't.
I know you don't want to run the
biggest
Cubs.
Names.
Normally, we would run everything, but I know you don't want anything to do with the Cubs. That's why I said that. But
even I know what they need to do. They need a fucking third baseman.
Mitch Keller in division. Mitch Keller from the Pirates. Get him.
They need a right-handed bat, power bat, preferably who can play solid D at third base. You need a starting pitcher, and you need a bullpen arm. Those are your three biggest
as a closer,
needs.
But I am with you.
Those are your 3 biggest
Finnegan's
needs.
out there again. They could have signed Kyle Finnegan or traded for him before the season started, and they didn't. And if the Royals keep tanking, you go get Estevez. He was another guy who was out there before the season started that they did. No, Ryan Presley, he's awesome.
No, Presley sucks.
God,
he's not even an inning eater.
And here's the thing that drives me nuts.
Other than a steering wheel on your crotch?
And you know, arg, drives my nuts. You listen to the score out of Chicago more than I do. And I'm sure these guys are talking about this.
Yeah, because...
Does anybody trust Tom Ricketts to re-sign Kyle Tucker, to re-sign Seiya Suzuki? No. Where's the money coming from? Where's the money coming from to re-sign those two? They've got control over PCA for a few more years, but then at that point, are they going to re-sign him?
Yeah. No, and what was it with Tucker? What is it, the rumblings? He is going to be in the $600 million range for his next deal?
They should trade him right now. I'm telling you, Cubs fans, listen to me. If Ricketts is going to pull this shit, Trade him right now for a
this
starting pitcher and a third baseman. Do it right now.
Yeah.
Don't wait till the offseason to get nothing for him.
You can thank Guerrero Jr. He is not worth the $500 million he's getting.
Oh my God, no.
And Tucker is so much better than Guerrero Jr. That's why.
See, I wouldn't go there. I wouldn't go that Tucker is better than Guerrero, but I will agree Guerrero's numbers are so far down for what he got paid.
Is Soto earning his $700 million?
No, absolutely not.
So why do these guys think they are worth this much money? They aren't. They're not earning it. Because there's one desperate
owner who will always pay.
And now, that's why you need a hard cap.
This is why I'm saying, if what you said is true, and they want $600 million for Kyle Tucker, I trade him now. And the fan base will understand it. But if I can get a top-level starting pitcher and a decent to top-level third baseman, and maybe a relief pitcher in the package, I do it now. Because you've got Suzuki, get his ass out there. You've still got PCA, you've still got Happ in the outfield. As much as I love him.
Oh, his bat has sucked over the last 2 weeks.
Leadoff batter hitting under 240.
Why is PCA not leading off?
But here's what I'm saying. Cubs fans might hate me for saying this, but it's the honest, brutal truth. Trade him right now. If you're not going to pay him, trade Tucker right now to get a young third baseman and a young starting pitcher who you can control.
Yeah, a better starting third baseman than Shaw, who is an absolute train wreck at the plate.
Yeah, have you seen what Paredes is doing with the Astros?
Yeah.
They never should have made that trade. And I know, I'm not ripping on Tucker. Tucker's been great. That's not what I'm doing here. But you have to look at the long term. Cam Smith has been awesome for them. The prospect we traded away.
Yeah.
Wisniewski blew out his arm. Fine. Those were the three main pieces in what we gave up to get Tucker. A rental for a year.
Yeah. How does that make any sense? Why are you giving that away if you're not going to sign Tucker long term?
And then Rick gets his humming and hawing. I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to talk to his agent. You're not paying. I know goddamn well they're not paying him $600 million.
That's lip service to your fan base who you're bullshitting.
Trade him now to get something back for him. The fan base will understand. How many times have you not
done anything where you've let guys go for nothing? How many times have you done that?
Kyle Schwarber comes to mind. He would have been awesome if we'd kept him, right?
Would have been good.
Anyway, the Cubs are 50-35 in first place in the NL Central as we record 2 games up on Milwaukee. Those pesky fucking Brewers! I can't stand the fucking Brewers! Pat Murphy, goddamn, I love him. He is such a good manager.
And to think, he was the bench coach.
I know. And those two butting heads is beautiful.
It's great.
Yeah.
Former head coach, player,
yeah.
Now butting heads as opposing managers.
Yeah. And a council, again, I said this last year, you need to give the guy some time. He's only going to be able to play the hand he's dealt with.
But why is he still putting Happ at the top of the order?
That I don't understand.
Fuck Ian Happ's ego.
That I don't understand. Ian Happ's going to have the same fucking year Ian Happ always has. He's
no matter where.
240 and hit 20 home runs, and they're going, he's such a great fielder. Ian Happ is the most overpaid, overrated outfielder in the National League.
There you go.
And like you said, why isn't PCA... Or Nico Horner, for that matter.
Oh, I like Nico, too.
And they want to trade. They can't wait to get rid of Nico.
Why?
The one guy who can hit 290, 300 on the team. We can't wait to get rid of him.
Geeks. Hey, the White Sox. 25 games back, dead last again in the AL Central. 28-57. But at least they're still better than the Rockies at 19-66.
Yeah, that's one of the two things we're keeping track of. The Rockies at 19-66 are on a 2.24 winning percentage pace. That would put them at the end of the season at 36-126, and that would erase the Chicago White Sox from the record books as the worst team ever. Screw all this Cleveland Spiders crap from the 1800s.
Doesn't matter.
No.
Hey! Luis Robert Jr. once again fucks the White Sox over. Having a subpar year, batting under 200, not doing shit, playing lackadaisical in the outfield. Hell, let's put him on the IL with another damn hamstring strain. Useless, useless, useless.
Hey, but at least last week you weren't here. The White Sox stepped up with that guy who said the shit to Kettle Marte of the Diamondbacks.
They did. The organization booted the guy out, banned him for life. Then Major League Baseball followed suit and banned him from every stadium for life. Rightly
there are
so.
some people, though, that are now questioning once they've heard what he said. Was it really that bad?
Just because you pay a ticket doesn't give you carte blanche to say every damn thing possible.
We'll talk more about the fans later. And I'm not sticking up for the fans. This is why I don't go to games. Is because I hate the fans.
There are miserable ass fans who should not be allowed to attend games live. I've sat by a number of them. I've almost gotten fights with them.
We've got the bottom feeders. This really messed up our Field of Frenzy competition this past week.
It threw things for a loop.
Helped you.
Helped
you. Helped me. Because we were the ones that actually picked a halfway decent team last week.
We did.
With the Brewers. But the bottom feeders all of a sudden are rising up. The Pirates won this afternoon. They're on a 6-game winning streak. They are 8-2 in their last 10 games. And the Marlins going into tonight, July the 2nd, are riding an 8-game winning streak. They're 9-1 in their last 10 games. So that screwed a lot of people up.
Screwy, nutsy, cuckoo.
Hey, I wouldn't mind going into these last 10 weeks with a 6 or 7 game cushion. I'd be okay with that. You're doing well. You could be second place. You could be second place.
I'm stable.
By the end of this week.
You and I have been picking the same team.
No, not this week, though.
Not this week, but the last few, we've been copacetic.
Yeah, it helped you last week.
It did.
It did. All right, injuries. Pitching injuries, shocking.
No, say it ain't so.
The Mets are floundering. And one of these guys from their flaunted pitching lab tore his Achilles. Griffin Canning out for the year.
Again, what the hell?
With the Achilles. Yeah, the Achilles is unbelievable.
What was it? For how long? Who was out of all sports, what was the biggest Achilles injury that you can think of?
Oh, Jesus. I would say Vinny Testaverde.
Dan Marino.
Marino would be there too, yeah.
Outside of those two, how many Achilles pops had you heard of happening?
Yeah, we're going back.
We're going way, way back.
Yeah.
Late 70s, 80s, 90s. These were not a common injury. They were a rarity.
Yep.
Now they're happening left and right.
Yep.
Are these guys getting in too good a shape where everything is stretched so tight that, sorry, sometimes you need to be a schlub?
And I've heard that. I've heard a lot of people say that, yeah. That's a big part of the issue. You don't have enough muscle mass everything's tendons and
Yeah.
ligaments and
You're all muscle.
right.
You've got no body fat. Everything is so taut and tight. You're having more of the arm issues because you're throwing with more velocity. You're putting more torque on everything.
Oh, speaking of which, my other injury of the week, which just came down today. Bad year. This is probably the team that is the most disappointing of any team in Major League Baseball. Atlanta loses another starting pitcher. Of course, Chris Sale just went down.
With the ribs.
Broken rib cage. Now Spencer Schwellenbach with a fractured elbow. Most likely done for the year.
How did that happen? Oh yeah, over torquing. Get rid of these fucking pitch labs.
God, I wonder if we can get Spencer Strider. Oof. I wonder what we'd have to give up to get him. But the Braves are done. This is a lost year for them. A lost year for them.
And with the types of injuries they've got to some of their pitchers, next year's going to be a lost season too.
Yeah. I mean, the Marlins just passed them.
Yeah.
Marlins are in
sad.
third in the NL East now. And the Washington Nationals, a disaster. I gotta believe this could be the end for Dave Martinez. Despite the fact that he got them the one World Series title.
But the front office hasn't done him any favors either.
No.
He's got nothing. He's got nobody to coach.
They let Juan Soto walk. They let Bryce Harper walk.
Yeah, they didn't
They let Max Scherzer walk.
They didn't get anything back, and that fucked them.
Yep. And then the other thing we're tracking, this will probably swap out this at the All-Star break for the 300 hitters. But Aaron Judge is still hanging in there, hitting 358 going into tonight's game with 30 home runs, 67 RBIs. Batting average is still first in both the American League and all of Major League Baseball. 30 home runs, second in the AL to, of course, Cal Raleigh.
Raleigh is having a fucking season.
Tied for second with Shohei in terms of all of MLB. And then he's starting to slip a little bit with the RBI. Second.
Nobody's on base for him.
Yep. Second in the AL again to Cal Raleigh. Fourth in all of Major League Baseball. I do believe there is a gentleman on the north side of Chicago named Seiya Suzuki who might have some more RBI than Mr. Aaron Judge. And again, the Cubs will never pay him because the Cubs suck. Good Lord, it's back.
The Chicago
Didn't you tell me this 6 months ago? It's back to the time when we had the Chicago Tribune. We'll spend this far, no further.
Yep, this is all we have. This is all we have.
Yeah.
This is all we have.
Unbelievable. And I don't want, believe me, if Kyle Tucker wants $600 million, I don't want him. But trade him and get something for him.
Something back, for the love of all that's holy.
I don't have a problem with saying we're not going to pay a guy $600 million.
But we damn well better get something in return.
There you go. Angels manager Ron Washington is out for the remainder of the season. He's on medical leave. Ray Montgomery has taken over, and they're not doing too bad. Last time I checked, as of last night, they were 500.
Yep, so
and that's even without your favorite player, Mike Trout, playing all that well. They are a scrappy, plucky little bunch out there in Anaheim.
Yep.
In the shadow of the big brother at Chavez Ravine.
The overpaid Dodgers.
And then, of course, we have to delve back into nastiness. And we knew this was coming. But down in the Dominican Republic, young phenom Tampa Bay Rays shortstop Wander Franco Now, here's the thing.
I've got issues with this whole situation.
2-year suspended prison sentence down in the Dominican Republic. He is guilty of sexual abuse of a minor.
He actually has sex with a minor, abuses her, takes advantage. 2 years suspended. The mother gets 10 years in prison for trafficking. What the fuck? Why? This boggles my fucking mind. There's no reason for the disparity in this. They're both equally culpable. Both should have the 10-year prison sentence.
Yep.
It's fucking ridiculous. Hold this fucktard accountable. But no, he's a great baseball player. He's a celebrity in the country, so it's okay. Bullshit.
No, we will discuss this more later.
Oh my God.
And possibly on the weekend edition. By the way, the weekend edition coming up this Saturday morning. Your Saturday morning hangover cure.
Because we know you're really going to be hungover after the 4th of July.
Yeah. Fireworks might still be going off in your head. 7, 8 in the morning on Saturday, July the 5th. Don't worry, your Uncle Dave and I have got you covered.
It's all good.
Now, we're going to have some very different things going on here. Your Uncle Dave has got a book review. I have got a movie review that he does not have. I have a TV and streaming review that he does not have. And then together we're going to do cassette classics, baby.
Bum, bum, bum.
The very first album from Queens of the Stone Age. But of course we'll get caught up on Duster and Poker Face and Resident Alien.
All the good stuff.
But now
there's one I wanted that I did not get to yet. Because last week being on vacation, there was zero TV watching. And so we had to play catch up with those three, and I missed getting to one that I wanted, which might be the one you have.
We will see. This is, again, your Uncle Dave and I try to keep things spicy. So we don't compare notes on everything. So we try to surprise each other with this stuff. So, you kids, we're not just going by the seat of our pants. It's called improv. We try to keep it a little bit spicy and alive, right?
That's right. We've been doing this long enough.
Yep.
We can do this.
All right. Time to move on to NASCAR.
Oh, God.
Sorry. We've got an inside joke here we'll let you in on in a couple minutes.
Oh, Dougie.
Yep. Before we get to our picks for this weekend's Grant Park 165, of course, that is the Chicago street race. We've got to cover what happened last weekend at Atlanta.
The big one rears its ugly head on a 1.5-miler.
Yeah.
Taking out pretty much all of us, except for one.
Yeah, Bill won. Bill got...
Chase Elliott
decided...
steals the victory from Keselowski on the final lap.
I will say this, though. For the first time in at least 2 years, Chase Elliott looked like he wanted to race and win. Yeah, I will give him credit for that. That whole race, he looked like he wanted to win.
And you have not seen that kind of fire out of him in forever.
So I will give him credit for that. But yeah, the rest of us, we were done at halfway through the race.
And there's the big one, and okay.
You were actually the second best.
Yeah, 17th from Kyle Larson, who was involved in that melee.
He was the second best among our 8 panelists. That's how bad it was.
God. Ugh.
I knew the minute Blaney got turned into the wall, I'm like, oh shit.
Done.
Yep. lucky to be alive. That's another one of those.
Yeah.
We've seen that for the second time in the last 3-4 weeks.
The Earnhardt turn into the wall. Yeah.
Yeah, you see that and you're like, nope, car's done, and we just hope the driver's okay. Fine. But yeah, then you had the big one, like you said, at the beginning of the second stage, that took out Logano, that took out Byron, Cindric. I mean,
yeah, it wiped a lot of guys out. Ugh.
And your boy Kyle Larson actually overcame.
He got some pretty decent damage in that thing.
Well, and he failed pre-race inspection twice.
Yeah.
He lost his crew chief. He lost his choose in terms of his pit selection.
Yeah.
Could have been worse for you.
It could have been way worse for you. It could have been a DNF. Could have been disqualified.
He did pass on the third one, though, so. I would like to call, yet again, we fucking told you so.
Yep, I believe it was 2 weeks ago after that abysmal run that Daniel Suarez had in Mexico that he would be out at Trackhouse Racing at the end of the year. Boom! We are geniuses because it was just announced mutually Suarez and Trackhouse agree to part ways at the end of the season.
Yep. Now, no official word has been put forth. Of course, our prediction was Connor Zilic would take over full-time in that car. That has not been announced yet,
nope,
but
we'll wait and see.
Fucking Suarez.
Ugh. Useless. Hey, today as we record July 2nd, happy birthday to Richard Petty. 88 today as we record this.
Nice. Very nice. Happy birthday to the king. Now, Joey Logano, he got the pole. Didn't have a great race, but he got the pole in Atlanta. And he did also get $1 million for topping the first term of NASCAR's new driver ambassador program. Now, this, of course, is the bullshit that they. Here's the thing I have. Can I just vent for a minute about NASCAR and how they're trying so hard to be like every other sport except NASCAR?
Yeah, they're ruining what they are all about.
We didn't even mention the fact that Atlanta was the first race in the in-season challenge. And all I heard was Steve Letarte, brackets are busted! Brackets are busted! Are we fucking watching March Madness?
Do we fucking care? No, NASCAR fans could give a shit about this tournament.
So let me point this out. So NASCAR put in the playoff system to be more like the NFL. Yep. Right? Now NASCAR has put in the in-season challenge to be more like the NBA. Then Joey Logano winning $1 million for the driver ambassador program.
What the hell is that
the PGA bullshit? That's the PGA bullshit that they put in a couple years ago. That's why Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy are getting checks for $500,000 because of how they support
the sport.
Yes.
Balls.
NASCAR is trying to be like every other sport except NASCAR.
Back to what you are.
And I'm not mad at Joey. It's not Joey's fault.
No, it's
Joey did what he had to do.
Yeah, it's NASCAR's fault for being fucking lemmings. As well as being dictators and having a monopoly.
And we will see how that lawsuit plays out at the end. It looks like it's going to drag out to the end of the year.
It will.
With 2311 and what Rick Rick Ware?
Yeah. No,
because Rick Ware I've got here for something else.
Yeah, they just...
Yeah, TJ Pooker? I hope I'm not... mispronouncing that name. Pooker? TJ Pooker, founder of Spire Motorsports, has now bought Rick Ware Racing. And he hopes to have 3 cars in the Cup Series by 2027.
Front row racing.
Front row.
With 2311.
All right.
Want to make sure we get this correct.
And then this is a follow-up from last week. This was one of my dumbasses of the week contenders. Now, a couple weeks ago, when you were here, we talked about Carson Hocevar and what he said about Mexico City, called it a shithole, and got nailed, fined,
his team,
and then had to go to sensitivity training. Well, last week I pointed out the fact that Hayek Motorsports, Ricky Stenhouse Jr.'s team, fired their spotter, Tab Boyd, because he basically said the same thing in a tweet.
Gee!
Guess what happened this past week, Dave?
What happened this past week, Kev?
Joe Gibbs Racing and Christopher Bell hired Tab Boyd to take over as spotter for Christopher Bell for the rest of the year.
There you go.
Smarter teams, smarter presidents, people who are running things, CEOs, will see the opportunity when it presents itself and take advantage.
And I'm sorry. Maybe the areas they were shitholes. We don't know. There's enough shitholes in this country. Our own capital included.
Not a good couple weeks for Mexico.
No.
Daniel Suarez out at Trackhouse. And now Tab Boyd gets a new job, despite the fact he got fired for saying the same bullshit, possibly true, that Carson Hocevar did.
I still like Hocevar.
I still think he's going to win before Ty Gibbs, despite what Doug says.
Despite this. No, I'm sorry. I love the way Hocevar drives. He doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yep. You want that out of the young drivers.
It's old Earnhardt Sr. It's Smoke. It's Harvick. Fuck it. Get out of my way. I'm going to take the spot. You come down into me, you wreck. Screw you, Stenhouse. You never was. Couldn't even keep Danica Patrick happy.
But who could? Who could?
This is true.
And then, of course, our obligatory F1 update. The Austrian Grand Prix. Lando Norris won. And I'm still flabbergasted at how well this F1 movie is doing. I can't believe this. I can't believe it. Nobody watches F1 in America, yet it makes $57 million opening weekend? Come on.
The first review I read on it said, what is it, like 2.5 hours? They said an hour and a half would have been more than enough. The story sucks. There's no substance to any of the characters. It's crap. The only thing good about it are the racing scenes. So, there you go. And I'm sorry, I still don't think it can hold a torch to the 60s movie with James Garner, Grand Prix.
Now, I will watch it when it hits streaming. Oh, no, wait, I won't because it's on Apple. We won't get to watch it because it's on Apple. The one streaming service that nobody in the country ever pays for. That leads us to race 19 of the NASCAR Cup season. This Sunday, July the 6th, 2025. Will this be the last time we run the streets of Chicago? The Grant Park 1 65.
Yep, it is in question. Will they go back or not?
Or will they go to San Diego?
Is this a rotating street course?
All right, panelists, all have their picks in.
We were so close. For the first time ever in NASCAR, we almost had a unanimous pick.
But Doug. Kev, Dave, Sam, Bill, Jen, Nick, and Aaron all take
Shane Van Gisbergen.
Doug.
Doug. Not even one of the better road racers.
Doug takes Ty Gibbs. And here's the sad thing. Doug is locked into the playoffs because he got a win. This is Bill's fault. Because Bill was the one, a year or two ago, who said, we can make it easier for everybody to get in because it's not...
You win and you're in. Bullshit. I don't have a win yet. I'm not locked in. My points look good for now, but I'm one bad race away.
Doug right now on points would not make it in, but he has the win. So that locks him in.
Bullshit.
Bill, of course, everybody gets a trophy. Everybody should be in. Everybody should win something. Fucktard liberals. God damn it. Oh, did I say that out loud?
Yes,
Sorry.
yes, you did.
Jesus Christ.
Not everybody deserves a trophy.
Sometimes you lose. There are winners and there are losers.
Just remember what Judge Smales said. The world needs ditch diggers too, son.
One of the greatest lines, not only in movies, but
In
as
life.
a life lesson. The world needs ditch diggers too. And they don't have to be illegal fucking immigrants either. But I digress. Oh, Dave, we love soccer, don't we? Don't we love soccer? We love soccer. I love soccer. What
What the hell is...
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant to say we hate soccer. And I have numbers to
smack
prove
you
it.
upside the
I
head.
have numbers to prove it.
What, they don't have record ratings?
This bullshit Club World Cup that's going on right now. I don't know if this is like a mini World Cup, what this is.
Who knows? There's like an international tournament every 3 months.
The group stage here in America, 1.2 million empty seats.
Oof.
Over 48 games to start the group stage. 12 games televised, 360,000 viewers on average per game. Yeah, we all love soccer. Soccer's awesome.
Ouch.
NASCAR this past weekend at Atlanta got awful ratings because it was rain delayed. There were, people again. This is NASCAR's fault. Switching, we don't know where it is. Is it Amazon? Is it Fox? Is it NBC? Yeah, they had to find out it's on TNT. They got 1.8 million. 1.8 million.
It would be 1.5 million more than soccer.
All right, that would mean, I do believe, it's time for moments of silence.
Yeah, we got a big one. Hall of Famer from the Pirates, Dave Parker, passes away.
Now, this is going to sound odd coming from a Cubs fan. Dave Parker was one of my 15 favorite players of all time. I loved Dave Parker. I loved him.
His game was
His
incredible.
swing was beautiful. You want to talk about a sweet swing?
Yeah.
Dave Parker, I was in awe. The Cubs sucked back in the late 70s. They absolutely sucked. And I was in awe of the Pirates, the We Are Family Pirates.
Yeah, they were fun to watch, and Parker was an integral
Parker,
part.
Seguin, Willie Stargell. Oh my God.
Stargell and Parker were two of the best players of that era.
Yeah. And again, these fucking Hall of Fames figure out a way to screw it up. Dave Parker is now dead. He ain't gonna get to see his induction ceremony.
Travesty again.
And we talked about this last week. I know you weren't here with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, with Mick Ralphs of Bad Company.
Yep.
Yes, he was around to hear the announcement.
Got in, but he can't make it. He's gone.
Yep.
Way too long to get them in.
No, I always loved Dave Parker. Always loved Dave Parker.
Yes, absolutely.
And I'm an old school baseball fan. Guys like him, Greg Luzinski comes to mind.
Yeah.
The guys from the 70s, the early 80s that I watched.
Yep, Luzinski Bull played for the Phillies and the White Sox.
Yep. Love Greg Luzinski. Those kind of guys I just admire beyond belief. Love them. And these players nowadays, I'm sorry, yes, I sound like grumpy old man. They can't hold a candle to those
what
guys.
These guys were. They're,
No.
The love of the game, not the dollar.
No. Losing Dave Parker hurts because I remember,
Oh my God,
as a Cubs fan, watching him beat our ass, but respecting and admiring the way he played the game.
I remember Saturday morning baseball bunch with Johnny Bench. Had the little league kids and always brought in stars of the game. I remember an episode with Dave Parker on. Great.
Yeah, we talked about Johnny Bench a couple weeks ago. And I will still dispute the fact that Cal Raleigh gets that record because he's splitting time between DH and catcher.
Yes.
Or Johnny Bench had to play catcher every day.
There was no days off for catchers back in the day.
No.
They played every game.
And you look back at those teams. Remember, kids, this is back when New York did not rule baseball. The Yankees sucked. The Mets sucked. It was all about the Big Red Machine. The Pittsburgh Pirates. The Phillies were good. Those teams were awesome. They were just awesome.
Good.
So yes, thoughts and prayers. My love as a baseball fan absolutely goes out to Dave Parker, his family, and his friends. Again, one of my top 15 players of all time. And then go back to NASCAR. Larry McClure passed away, of course, co-owner of Morgan McClure Motorsports.
Yep. Sterling Marlin drove the number 4 Kodiak Chevy for them for a number of years.
Yep, 1983 through 2012, 703 Cup races, 14 wins.
Yep. Thoughts and prayers to his family and friends.
And then in horse racing, one of the big two, I guess you would say, in terms of trainers, along with Bob Baffert, Dwayne Lucas passed away this past week. Dwayne Lucas trained 15 Triple Crown winners.
Thoughts and prayers to his family and friends.
Any Clint Eastwood badasses this week? He's thinking.
No, not enough to jump out.
All right, then you know what that means.
It's time to find out which of our wonderful contestants will earn the golden boot up the ass is our Red Foreman dumbass of the week. Week.
I'm juggling here. I had two different things I wanted for my last call, so I'm going to insert one of them very gently as a dumbass. Yes. But we're going to start off with ESPN's coverage of the NBA draft. And we understand ESPN doesn't know what the fuck they're doing anymore with sports.
No, they don't. They're all social commentary.
And we recently talked about the fact that Stephen A. Smith, getting $100 million a year, is sitting in the stands at the NBA Finals.
Playing on his phone.
Playing solitaire. But did we hit an all-time low with Malika Andrews? No, she's pretty. She's pretty. But as much as we like to see the pretty girls, on TV, they really have to do their job, don't they? They have to do their job. They have
to know what the hell they're talking about. And not dress like porn stars.
No, she doesn't.
She doesn't.
Malika Andrews does not.
I will give her credit. She does not. But there are so many who do.
Yep. But here's the problem. During the NBA draft, a young man named Cedric Coward was drafted at number 11. And I had to listen to this over and over and over. I wanted to verify. I wanted to make sure.
Did I hear this correctly?
And I found independent sources who verified this. So Cedric Coward was drafted at number 11. On air, live, Malika Andrews said, Colin Coward has been drafted.
Oh, good Lord. Where do you get Colin out of Cedric?
Coward.
Idiot. That's pretty bad.
Yep. That was the highlight or the low light. Because they had a lot of bad moments. Everybody hated their draft coverage. Everybody hated it. And again, why are you watching the NBA draft? I watched half an hour and I was out. Now, we didn't talk about the WNBA, so I feel bad about that. So let's just real quick. The Fever, my team, I guess, are 8-8. I am not watching. Like I said, I have pulled back. Very proud of myself.
But they did.
They won the Commissioner's Cup without Caitlin Clark.
The girls stepped up.
The two lesbian coaches went head-to-head. And ours won. The Fever beat the Lynx 74-59.
It was a beatdown.
And by the way, I should have given her my badass of the week. Sophie Cunningham, for multiple reasons. I heard she was shaking her ass in the locker room afterwards, doing a little twerking.
Do they have that on video?
Oh, man, it's got to be out there somewhere. It's got to be. But the announcement was, now, Caitlin Clark's been out. She's still not coming back. She's been out for 3 games, going to be out for 4. And the Fever are treading water, like I said, 8-8. They won the Commissioner's Cup. The dumbass part of this is that this hatred of Caitlin Clark boggles my mind. Boggles my mind. This is like NFL players hating Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Can't stand him. WNBA players, and this goes back to Tyrese Halliburton. It must be something with Indiana.
It's gotta be.
They all hate Indiana.
Oh, Halliburton's the most overrated player. Bullshit.
Caitlin Clark, this is the dumbass nominee. The WNBA players ranked Caitlin Clark the 9th best guard in the WNBA.
Come on.
Ninth best guard.
That's ridiculous.
Now, my girl Sophie, who is Caitlin Clark's best bud, enforcer, and I agree with her completely. They announced more expansion teams for the WNBA. Cleveland in 2028, Detroit in 2029, Philadelphia in 2030. Sophie Cunningham came out. God bless her. God, I'd love to.
Bless her.
Yeah. Don't you have to be naked for that kind of a ritual?
No.
Well, she should be. As I bless her.
Anyway.
As I bless her. With the glory of the maestro. She said, this is ridiculous. Why don't we go to different cities? Let's go to Miami. Let's go to Kansas City. Let's go to Nashville.
Yeah, why are you going to Miami?
Well, here's the thing. And
let's go to places that don't have anything.
That's her point. Now, of course, you're right with Miami. But she's pointing out the fact that Cleveland and Detroit have both had failed WNBA teams in the past that have folded.
Yeah.
Why are we going back there again? Why not give Nashville or Kansas City
the opportunity?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got other teams, Connecticut, Seattle, in cities that don't have NBA teams.
Gee, how about maybe you think of putting a WNBA franchise in Oklahoma City and giving them a second team to root for?
God forbid that would make sense. Now everybody's mad at Sophie Cunningham because she dared to say, why are we going back to cities where we failed already?
She's got a valid point.
Yep. All right, so now we move on to tennis. Remember...
So where was the dumbass part in there? Or that's the WNBA going back to failed
The Caitlin
cities?
Clark. The Caitlin Clark
okay.
thing. Sorry, I made that a lot longer than you. I was trying to kind of make up for the fact I skipped the WNBA. But yes, the WNBA players for voting Caitlin Clark.
The 9th best
That's
guard.
the dumbass.
That's dumb.
Okay. The rest of it's just me. Making up for my stupidity.
And to praise the lovely Cunningham.
I love Sophie Cunningham. I do. And I do want to find the video of her shaking her ass in the locker room after they won the Commissioner's
All you have to
Cup.
do is just see the
In a world full of lesbians, can I just please get some hetero love here? Something that will give me a little woody.
Her fashion walking into the stadium.
Oh,
what
yeah.
she wears or doesn't wear.
Yeah. Oh, she got in big trouble, by the way. Because, they got her, they got Caitlin Clark, and they've got Lexi Cobb. 3 white girls. She walked in a couple weeks ago with a shirt saying Tres Leches. With the 3 of them. The 3 white girls. Oh, that's racist! Oh, that's racist!
No, not really.
That's racist.
That's a badass moment there.
She got balls. She doesn't. But I'd like to check. Can I check?
Sophie don't care. And I like it.
All right, let's move on to tennis. And I'm not ripping on Coco Gauff, so don't accuse me of being a racist prick. But we had this issue of about a month or 2 ago with horse racing. Yes. Again,
yeah.
not comparing Coco Gauff to a horse. But this is more of a comparison of how soft our athletes have become. Coco Gauff just got ousted in the first round of Wimbledon, right?
Yep.
One of the best players in the world on the women's side, booted. And
Badly.
she says she was mentally drained. She didn't have a chance to celebrate her win properly from the French Open.
Boo-hoo. Wait, I believe it was Shinedown who has it best. My education's wearing off. My generation's getting soft.
Yes, dance, kid, dance. We will be seeing them in a couple months. About 2 months from now. Yes. So, here's the thing. Like I said, we talked about this a month ago with the horse racing schedule, and where they said the horses need more time to recover. That's different.
How fucking long have we had the Triple Crown races spaced out the way they are?
Right. And
how has that impacted horses over the century and a half that we've been doing this?
Right. And I agree with you on this. But I will say this, at least with the Kentucky Derby to the Preakness, I believe it is the second one, there's only 2 weeks. Coco Gauff had over 3 weeks of downtime between the end of the French Open and the beginning of Wimbledon. And we've already got people in the media.
Oh, we have to have more time. Bullshit. People have been playing this schedule forever. Suck it up. Deal with it.
Yeah. So all the media assholes who are saying we need to change the Grand Slam schedule to give them more time.
No, we don't.
No.
Maybe our athletes just need to get a little tougher.
All right. 2 more. 2 more and we're done. Diamondback season ticket holder Dave McCaskill. You heard about this guy?
Yes. A repeat offender.
He has been banned for the rest of the 2025 season because this past Monday night, once again, he interfered with a potential playable ball
or home run.
He has been interviewed, of course, because we have to interview these assholes and give them their
That's
time.
That's the thing I do. I've caught 24 home run balls. It's my thing.
Yep.
Yeah, how many of you interfered with? They've got at least 4 now documented instances where you have impacted a play. You do not belong in the front row at any stadium ever again.
Yeah, and he admits that his hero is the all-time most infamous guy who has interfered in home run balls ever. No, I can't stand this. And this is another example of where one asshole or two are going to...
for everybody.
And they're going to get to the point where they're going to move these seats back. Or they're going to take out the first row altogether.
And have a bar in there so people can't do this shit. Maybe we have to have that. Because you have these entitled assholes who ruin it for everybody. Who impact the game directly. Unacceptable.
Who was that pissant kid? Jeffrey Mayer?
Or that little
for the Yankees?
fucktard?
Yeah. You don't get to... And I know, believe me, as a Cubs fan, I know, and I still don't blame him. I still think Moises Alou threw a hissy fit. It was not a catchable ball.
It wasn't. It wasn't even close to being catchable.
But these guys, like this McCaskill guy, are sticking their gloves
over the wall
and interfering with game play.
Unacceptable.
Then finally, I was debating whether or not this one should be my last call. But I think you and I have decided what we're going to do for last call. So, you guys have to bear with me here. I'm not initially, on the surface, ripping on Travis Kelce, but I am. Travis Kelce came out and recently said he had a hard time when he was preparing to be on Saturday Night Live because the script readings caused him problems because he said, quote, I can't really read that well. Let me point something out to you kids. He went to the University of Cincinnati for 5 years. He redshirted. Okay, so he was there from 2008 through 2012. That is 5 academic years.
How did he get past that?
It took him another 10 years after that to finally get his diploma in 2022 in interdisciplinary studies. This is what you should expect from now on with your quote-unquote student athletes, because you've already admitted
in general.
You've already admitted you're right. Because
I've asked people to pass. No. Used to be back in the day, if you couldn't read at a certain level, you were held back until you could.
You're right. I'm focusing on the student athlete, but you're right. I completely agree with you. We lowered academic standards, back in the early 90s when we decided to change the scoring for the SAT?
How about when we started having all these standardized tests? Now the teachers don't get to teach things that students need to know. They teach them how to take the standardized test. Absolutely wrong on every frickin' level.
But I just want to point out that Travis Kelce, this situation will now be the standard because we're paying all the athletes. And we have been saying this for years here on Sports Frenzy 2.0. The first foremost goal for the student athlete, note the first word.
Student.
Is to get an education. Now that is no longer the case. Nobody cares about the student part. And now you've got Travis Kelce walking around saying he can't read all that well. Congratulations to higher education. You've just proven that nobody should go to college anymore and pay $80,000 a year for a fucking worthless diploma. Go into the trades. Learn from your parents. Do something homeschool-wise. But don't waste your money on these fucking... You've got Harvard now, right? Harvard or Yale. Anti-Semitic bullshit. Where they let these crazy mobs run wild across campus. This is what you get now with a quote-unquote higher education. Congratulations.
There you go.
So your nominees for the Red Foreman Dumbass of the Week are ESPN's Malika Andrews for saying Colin Cowherd got drafted. Travis Kelce as an example of the idiocy of our current collegiate education. The WNBA players for voting Caitlin Clark ninth best guard. The idiots in the media saying we should change the tennis schedule because it's too hard. It's too hard. And then, of course, the Diamondbacks season ticket holder, Dave McCaskill, for once again interfering with a game, ball in play, and finally getting his just desserts and getting banned for the year.
I have to go with that dip fuck as a repeat offender. The WNBA bitches are all catty. It is what it is.
I got to go with Kelsey. The whole issue. You know I just can't stand this. People are getting dumber and dumber by the day, and now hey, Taylor Swift, how proud are you that this is your fucking boyfriend?
How about
he can't read very well.
Now that you're not on tour, how about you spend some time with him, teaching him how to read with Dick and Jane?
Wouldn't that be awesome?
And Spot.
That would be a YouTube video I would watch.
Spot. C-Spot. C-Spot run. C-Spot fetch.
Yeah. Ask him to read the label on a can of chunky soup. How about that?
Can he read his favorite beer bottle?
How about Jason Kelsey is the genius in that family? How about that? And you people wonder why I hate celebrities and professional athletes?
Bingo.
Overpaid. Now, see, we talked about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. By all accounts, this guy, he gets it. He seems like he's a well-spoken, well-thought, he's an intelligent guy.
What was the first thing he did after the celebration? Went to the Pacers locker room to check on Halliburton.
Yes, he did. Absolutely. He gets it. He gets it.
His interviews, he's great. He's humble.
He's already a better basketball player, a better image for the NBA than LeBron James ever was.
Yep.
And I don't begrudge him making $71 million a year. If somebody's going to make it, let it be him.
Let it be him. Yep, absolutely.
All right, last call. Dave and I are going to kind of meld together here with our last calls because we got the same topic. We're going to approach it from two different angles, though.
It's kind of a continuation of what we had earlier.
I'll start off talking about BYU quarterback Jake Retzlaff. Jake Retzlaff was the latest in a long list of athletes who've been accused of rape, sexual assault. And while Dave and I, we want to believe the women.
We do. Because we have the Bills' first-round draft pick, Maxwell Hairston, being accused of sexual assault as well from 2021.
Here's the thing. We went on this rant a little earlier, I did, about how I want this to be settled in a court of law. Because if somebody perpetrated violence, especially sexual violence on a woman, I want them to go to jail. And I want them to go to jail for a long, long time. And hopefully they drop the soap in the shower and they find out what it's like to be forcibly violated, like the women that they violated.
Exactly.
But situations like this cause doubt. Jake Retzlaff violated the honor code at BYU. BYU has a very different rule structure than most other schools.
Yep.
He engaged in premarital sex. He did admit to that.
Yep.
So that would have resulted in him being suspended for over half the regular season coming up. Again, this is not something at any other school that I'm aware of that would have resulted in a suspension. But because he violated the honor code while he had this lawsuit hanging over his head, he said, I'm out, I'm transferring. Miraculously, the rape lawsuit was dismissed within 48 hours. This is where I have my problems. And this is where the hashtag #MeToo people will hate me forever, and that's fine. You don't understand how much I do want to stick up for women. But not in the way you want me to. Not in the way you think I should. I want these scumbags and these...
If this really was rape, Why did you drop this? Why wasn't it criminal?
This seems like some kind of an insidious behind-the-scenes plot to get Retzlaff out of BYU. Here's my thing. Dave and I are big on conspiracy theories. Here's my thing. Has anybody looked into the parents or the families of the other quarterbacks to see if this was a way to get Retzlaff out so their precious boy
could have an opportunity? Conspiracy theory. See, now we have Maxwell Hairston was accused of sexually assaulting a young lady in 2021 when they were at the University of Kentucky. She says that he strangled her, forced himself on her, and according to her lawsuit, she reported the alleged incident to law enforcement within hours, received the sexual assault nurse examiner exam at the hospital after speaking to police. However, her lawsuit does not specify the outcome of the police report or that same exam. And her lawyers are declined to provide any law enforcement or university documents that they may have due to certain information that must be kept confidential. What is that?
That makes no sense whatsoever. No sense whatsoever. If an assault happened and if she took all the tests.
Now, a spokesperson for the Lexington Police Department said they didn't have a report matching a sexual assault allegation against Hairston. Somebody from the county sheriff's office there did not immediately respond to requests for comment. University of Kentucky and the University Police could not comment on the lawsuit because of the sexual allegations, or couldn't comment on the lawsuit, but that the allegations were thoroughly investigated, or that any allegations are investigated and can involve police, Title IX, student conduct, and others. If charges were warranted, or if a student is found to have violated the code of conduct, things would have been pursued aggressively. None of that had been done. Did she now wait until he's now a first-round pick? We don't know. There's a lot of hinky stuff in this one, too.
All I want to say for our last call, and I hope Dave will agree with me on this, is that we hate political bullshit.
We hate false accusations.
So the hashtag #MeToo movement as a whole can kiss my ass, because you don't care about anything other than burning men at the stake. That's all you care about. You're a hate-filled, disgusting organization. What rational men like Dave and I want to see is absolute and complete justice for women who have been sexually assaulted, raped, and abused. We want the absolute worst, most heinous penalty to be thrown down on these asshole men.
Yep,
this is what you don't
and
get.
Entertainment. This is going to continue on into the weekend edition as well.
So don't say because
we
don't
want
like
accountability.
We don't like your little political movement that we don't stick up for women. We do stick up for the women. We stick up for more than you do.
To be held accountable.
As Dave said, more coming on the weekend edition, but that'll do it for Sports Frenzy 2.0, the sports edition here. Late on July the 2nd, dropping early on July the 3rd.
We hope you have a happy 4th of July. Celebrate safely. Don't blow off any appendages.
Yes, because the last thing we want is when you listen to the weekend edition on July the 5th, you sitting there with 3 fingers bleeding, stubs, nubs, wrapped in gauze.
We don't want you maimed. We don't want you burned. We don't. Be safe, kids.
Yes.
Be smart.
Absolutely. And we will see you back here Saturday morning, July the 5th for the weekend edition. Otherwise, if for some strange, stupid reason you don't want to listen to us talk about music and movies and TV and streaming, do this again in 7 days with us, July the 9th. We'll do it all over again with sports, kids. But until then, that's your Uncle Dave, the Conquistador, Dave Height.
That's your Uncle Kev, the Maestro Kevin Crane.
And until we talk again, say goodnight to the kids, Dave.
Good night to the kids, Dave.